It's now time for Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. It began as a podcast, went live on the net, and transformed into a full-blown empire. It's the only daily boxing talk show on the planet, hosted by the only guy with the balls to do it. Many have stepped into the ring. Many have tried to take the belt. And one by one, they've fallen. Another victim of the undisputed heavyweight champion of boxing talk radio. Talkin' Boxing with Billy C is on now.
My style is impetuous, my defense is impregnable, and I'm just ferocious. I want your heart.
Live from the Billy C Studios in Lake George, New York. I'm Bill Calogero. It's time for the Billy C Show. Good morning, good day, good evening. We're back. Yeah, really. Man, some system problems last week. But first, today's show is being brought to you in part by Sal's Neighborhood Pizzeria and Italian Restaurant located on beautiful St. Simon's Island in Georgia. Check out the website, www.salsneighborhoodpizzeria.com, or give my man a call, 912-268-2328, 912-268-2328. Find out why I go all the way to St. Simon's to get an authentic Italian meal. Today's show is also being brought to us in part by Fight TV. Hey, you want to watch the fights that you can't watch on your regular television provider? Don't worry about it. We got an embedder right on the front page of BillyCBoxing.com. Just click on where it says Fight TV, pay-per-views or not. Just click that, and that'll bring you to the player in which you can enjoy all the fights, no matter where they are. And while you're at it, download the Billy C app. It's for free right there on BillyCBoxing.com. And finally, today's show is being brought to us in part by my book, Tom Molyneux, From Bondage to Baddest Man on the Planet, is available right now where all good books are sold, and you can get a copy right now while you're watching or listening to this show. Just visit BarnesandNoble.com or Amazon.com. Find out why I want to get everybody up to date on my man Tom Molyneux. Find out why we're optioned for a movie. This is a must-read, and it's the holidays. So, hey, it fits right in the stocking. Get yourself a copy today. What? You want a personalized signed copy? Don't worry about it. Visit our website, BillyCBoxing.com, and click on the book. You can't miss it. If you want more than one copy, drop me an email, and I'll hook you up with a deal. Billy@TalkinBoxing, TalkinBoxing.com. Coming up a little bit later, Daxx Khan will join us, get his thoughts on the fights from this weekend. This week is a short week due to the holiday. We will be here today, tomorrow, and Thanksgiving Eve, which is Wednesday. And on Wednesday, we will be doing our Blast from the Past, which features, as per a request from one of you guys, Tony the Tiger Lopez. Alex Perpali will be here to tell us all about Tony the Tiger Lopez. Then we're off for Thanksgiving and the day after, but we're back the following Monday. And then, hey, it's the holiday season, so we'll keep you posted. We got some fights that took place on the weekend, but today's main topic, all these guys, Deontay, well, the two main guys anyway, Deontay Wilder and Joseph Parker, they're talking a lot of smack about about AJ, Anthony Joshua. Both fighters, coming out and saying they were going to do this. Oh, they want to fight. Oh, AJ's backing away. He's scared. He's this, he's that. I got all kinds of stuff to talk about after we give you the update on who won over the last couple of days in terms of the bigger fights. We'll give you our thoughts on that. But it just cracks me up about these guys talking smack about AJ. The funny thing is, he won't fight me. He won't fight me. He's afraid of me. AJ's not afraid of anybody. But remember one thing, boys and girls, children of all ages, and ladies and gentlemen. The bottom line is AJ's the draw. AJ can fight a gas station guy. No, nothing wrong with gas station guys. He can fight anybody in England and make $10-20 million. He's in the driver's seat. He doesn't need anybody else. That's what these guys have to understand. Joining me right now from St. Simons is my man, Sal Rocky Cenicola. Isn't AJ in the driver's seat?
Well, he is in the driver's seat. I mean, the guy's a draw. He's very popular. And I'll tell you what, anybody in the world, let alone these 3 or 2 contenders, will be fortunate and should negotiate a deal right away to get in his backyard, AJ's backyard, a good title fight and a great payday. So I think it's a great incentive, and I could see why these fighters would like that and want to fight him. And like I always said, Bill, you're really only viewed as good as your last fight. And AJ, although he had a great fight against Klitschko, he came back, he showed us some things, and he was tested a little bit. Also was exposed some vulnerabilities in some fighters' minds or some camps' minds. So that's why they're all talking smack right now. But we will see if they ever do get in a ring, what's going to be reality. So and that's when they'll find out.
What vulnerabilities would that be, Sal?
Well, I think they're going to have to test his conditioning to go 12 rounds in a title fight at a good pace. I think it's going to be something that the other opponent's going to look to go past a certain amount of rounds and keep up their good pace and see if they can tire him out, and also if they can catch him, be lucky enough to catch him. I think AJ is a solid, fundamentally sound fighter. I think he does a lot of the good basic things right, and it's a matter of certain things that I think he has not been experiencing in the ring thus far that he's going to have to see. And I'll tell you, out of all the guys, Deontay Wilder, I believe, is the most dangerous opponent for AJ.
How many times how many times has Deontay gone 12?
No, he hasn't. So it's going to be a test.
No, he went once.
He's going to be a test of heart, desire, conditioning. It's going to be. That's why I think these combatants will be a great fight. And Joe Parker, wherever they throw him in a mix, he's no slouch. I think he'll do well. But I think AJ should handle him. I do see Deontay Wilder. If Deontay's on, and he believes he's on, I do see Deontay Wilder, I've said all along, could give AJ some difficulties.
Deontay Wilder's never gone. He's only gone 12 rounds one time.
That's right.
I don't think that, in my opinion, I don't think Anthony Joshua showed any kind of vulnerabilities against Carlos Takam, except for the fact that he wasn't proficient in fighting such a shorter guy, which he will not have to deal with against Deontay or Joseph Parker. I'm specifically talking about Parker and Wilder. Both talking smack, saying that AJ will not fight them. That is a lie. The truth of the matter is it's over the money. We'll get to that in a second. But first, let's get you caught up with some of the fights that took place over the weekend. Former Super Bantam and Featherweight World Champion Carl Frampton improved to 24-1 with 14 knockouts when he won a 10-round unanimous decision over Horatio Garcia over the weekend out of Northern Ireland. Garcia drops to 33-4 with a draw and 24 knockouts. The way the judges scored it, 97-93, 98-93, and 96-93, all in favor of Carl Frampton. He was coming back from the first loss of his career, Sal. I thought he did what he had to do. The question is how much more can he do?
Well, I don't think he could do much more. I'll tell you, I think Carl Frampton is a little limited. He does a good job of boxing. He's not a power puncher. He's a finesse fighter. He does well. He seemed to be in good condition. And I think Horatio Garcia was probably the perfect opponent for him. I did have the fight a little closer. I had it 96-94. There was a debatable knockdown that did occur in the 7th, but I did score a knockdown. It was a knockdown. And I think that Frampton showed, he's still capable of boxing. I thought Garcia could have worked the body and that gone downstairs a little bit more to wear him down and slow him down, and I thought he was effective in the early rounds there too. But it was a good fight. It was a good fight for Frampton to come back on, but I think he's going to be surprised when he fights the next level up.
Also on that card, in the junior bantamweight division, the IBF version, champions version, I guess, junior bantamweight IBF champion, Jerwin Anasias improved to 28-1 with a draw when he stopped previously unbeaten Jamie Conlan via a 6th-round knockout. Conlan loses for the first time of his career. He drops to 19-1 with 11 knockouts. Jerwin I went to I went to the Porky Pig English class. Anasias was credited with dropping Conlan in the first round. Conlan took a knee, but then again in the third round, a body shot knocked him down, and then another knockdown he sustained in the fourth round. The fight was stopped when Conlan hit the canvas again in the sixth. The official time of the stoppage was 52 seconds. We will see what happens with Conlan after that. And finally on that card, WBO bantamweight champion Zolani Teat improved to 26-3 when he took care of Sabazio Gagne. In 11 seconds to improve to 26-3 with 21 knockouts, Gagne drops to 11-2. This was the quickest world title fight knockout in the history of boxing. So congratulations to Zolani on that. Some other fights to talk about real quickly. In the heavyweight division, Tomas Adamek. Yeah, that same Adamek guy. He improved to 52-5 when he beat Fred Cassie. I don't know why they call him Big Fred Cassie, Sal, because he's not that big. He really could be a cruiserweight, really, but beat him over 10 rounds, 97-93, 96-94 twice. Adamek, he's seen better days. I don't know. He struggled a bit with Cassie. I don't know what he's trying to do. He is a draw. This fight did take place in Poland. So there you have it. Also on Saturday night, Julian J-Rock Williams improved to 24-1 with a draw when he scored a 10-round unanimous decision over a former champ and arguably the most boring fighter in the history of the sport to watch, except for Floyd Mayweather, Ishii Smith, who drops to 29-9, 99-91, 98-92, 97-93, all for J-Rock. Also on that card, light heavyweight, Lionel Thompson improved to 19-4 when he won a 10-round decision over Earl Newman, who drops the first fight of his career. He drops to 10-1-1, 97-91 twice, 96-92. I had the luxury of calling Lionel Thompson's fights, a couple of them early in his career up in the Buffalo area. And also Tug Scott Nabayar improved to 9-0 with 8 knockouts. Despite hitting the canvas in the second round to win a unanimous decision over Hermanto Della Torre, who was undefeated at 19-0 going into this fight. 8-round unanimous decision. The scores were 79-73, 78-73 twice, all for Nabayar, who competed and won a silver gold medal in the 2012 Olympics. And on Friday night, Sal, a guy that it's hard to watch any of him or his brother's fights. They always bring some, I don't know what I want.
Drama?
Yeah. Good choice.
Drama.
I'm glad you picked that word before I came up with something I might have regretted. But former super middleweight champ Anthony Durrell improved to 31-1 with a draw when he won a 6-round technical decision over Dennis Duglin, who drops to 20-6. The way the judges scored it at the time of the unintentional headbutt that caused Durrell not to be able to continue. 49-46, 48-74 twice. There was an unintentional headbutt. Doolin was deducted a point. To tell you the truth, and we should ask Mike, the cut man, who was in the corner for Dennis Doolin, what he thought, because to tell you the truth, it always seems that the Durrell brothers, something happens when they're in some kind of trouble. And Doolin, not that he's a world beater, because he's not. I thought he was giving Durrell all he could handle. Did you get a chance to see that fight, Sal?
No, I did not, Bill. We had the big classic golf PGA Tour this week, and we got killed.
All right. Well, in my opinion, I don't know if Durrell actually won that fight, at least after 6 rounds.
I'm going to look at it later.
But anyway, also on that card, Jamonte Clark improved to 13-0 with 7 knockouts when he won an 8-round majority decision over Dominique Dalton, who drops to 19-2-1. 76-76 was the way one judge had it, and the other two had it in Clark's favor, 78-74, 77-75. And Ryan Carl improved to 15-1 when he won an 8-round decision over Kareem Martin, who drops the second fight in his career. He's now 9-2-1, 78-74 twice, 77-75 was the way the judges scored that one. And at cruiserweight, to keep your eye on, Alexei Zubov improved to 16-1 with 9 knockouts when he won a split decision over Robbie Sims. That's what took place over the weekend in boxing. Some of the bigger fights, anyway, I should say. But what's got my goat today, Sal, is all of this rhetoric that's coming out about fighters not wanting. Or should I say the heavyweight division rhetoric, where 2 main fighters in Deontay Wilder and Joseph Parker are claiming that AJ wants no part of them. Parker went as far as saying that he would knock out not only AJ, but Wilder too if he got a chance. This is how fighters try to get fights, Sal.
Well, They're trying to get the attention, like little kids trying to get the attention of their parents, and I mean it's a shame, but it could be effective on some level. And here we are talking about it, and I think these 2 contenders and champions, because we got definitely champion in Deontay Wilder, do need to fight AJ. Should fight AJ. I mean, when there is a little bit of doubt who is the greatest, that's why you have title fights. So let's see these fights being made.
Well, what I was trying to finish saying was the fact that these guys use the media, and what they say most of the time is pointless. The truth of the matter is that both of these guys, and I say these guys, referring to Deontay Wilder and Joseph Parker, are outpricing themselves. They all know, just like I said earlier, that the main guy in the heavyweight division right now is Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua, when Floyd Mayweather was picking fighters and he was making all this money, and we were critical. Let me rephrase that. When I was critical of that, people would say to me, well, Bill, can you blame Floyd for fighting the guys that are willing to take the offers and him still making buku dollars? Is it really his fault that this is the case and other fighters that may be a better fight don't accept the money that's offered? And the truth of the matter is no, it's not the fighter's fault. Kudos to a guy like Floyd, who was able to make $100 million fighting a Conor McGregor who's never fought in a boxing ring in his life. And kudos to Floyd Mayweather, who was able to get his 50th win against a pro debut fighter. Kudos to Floyd. And I say the same thing for Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua can make $20 million at least. $20 million at least for fighting Carlos Takam in England. Why would he offer anything outrageous? Joseph Parker, listen, I have some quotes from Parker. I have some money things from Parker. I have some quotes from Deontay Wilder. He was on sports, ESPN Sportsnet the other day, or I should say, I think it was First Take maybe he was on, or definitely on SportsCenter. I forget which which exact show, but on Friday he was on talking some smack. I'll get to all of that here in 1 second, because until then, I got to take a break. I'll be back in.
Billy C will be right back.
Stop. Living with hair loss, that is. Losing your hair is no fun, and no one wants to be bald, but there is hope.
Getting my hair back was the best thing that ever happened to me.
I'm happy with the way I look now.
I'm very excited about my hair.
I feel beautiful.
I love my hair.
Hair Club offers all proven hair loss solutions backed by our commitment to satisfaction guarantee. If you're not 100% satisfied with the solution you choose, Hair Club will apply the purchase price to another proven hair loss solution or transplant more hair at no charge.
That was the best thing I've ever done.
It looks good on me.
Call in the next 5 minutes to get your free brochure at no obligation. It will tell you everything you need to know about your hair loss problem, and it's free if you call now.
I am more pleased than what I had even imagined.
I at least look, I would say, 5 years younger.
I'm 52, and I look better now than I did when I was in my 40s.
I feel great.
And that's not all. The first 100 people who call will also receive $250 off any hair loss solution from Hair Club. Call now.
Broken air conditioning, $4,400. Failing refrigerator, $2,500. Don't let outrageous repair and replacement bills like these bust your budget. Get the First American Home Warranty Plan. And when a covered appliance or system breaks, we'll repair it or replace it for you.
We had a high-end dishwasher go kaput. They put it in a brand new dishwasher.
We have plans that cover air conditioning, most appliances, plus heating, plumbing, electrical systems, and much more. Plans start as low as $25 a month. Why let a major appliance or system breakdown bust your budget or go through the hassle of finding trustworthy service people? Last year alone, we saved our customers over $120 million. Don't wait until something breaks and you're stuck with a huge bill.
You save a lot of money.
It's absolutely worth it.
If you don't have First American Warranty, get it.
Call 1-800-946-6234 for your free no-obligation quote.
This is important news for people who had a hip replacement and then had to have additional surgery as the result of a faulty hip implant, or were diagnosed with high levels of metal in the blood, known as metallosis. You may have a right to a cash award and medical expenses. If you have been diagnosed with high levels of metal in your blood or have required more surgery because of hip implant failure, call the law offices of Davis & Crump right now. Our first consultation is free, and we don't get paid unless you get paid. Call now. Operators are standing by.
Are you currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red, white, and blue Medicare card? If so, are you suffering from chronic back pain? If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a pain-relieving back brace covered by Medicare at little to no cost, shipped directly to your home for free. These medical-grade back braces are ideal for lower back pain, arthritis, spinal disorders, and other chronic back problems. Will you qualify for a medical-grade back brace? Call Back Brace America at 1-800-290-8300.
Check out BillyCBoxing.com now, or feel the wrath of the mighty mustache.
Oh, that hurts! Why are you doing that to my face? I hate you.
That's BillyCBoxing.com. Consider this your warning. Now back to Billy C. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're back. You're watching and listening to the Billy C. Show. Glad you could be with us today. And I want to talk about the heavyweight division. Joining me right now is Sal Rocky Cenicola. Hey, Sal, did you ever see what a full cord of wood looks like?
Full cord?
Yeah, full cord. Like.
Yeah, I think I have. I mean, it's a lot of wood.
It is a lot of wood. You know, I friggin'. I'm trying this thing, but anyway.
What's the matter? Go ahead.
I'll tell you what's the matter. I am so sore today. I work. I'm used to working, right? Pretty hard, I guess. But man, I ordered this cord of wood, and my misconception. I think a cord physically dimensions 4 by 4 by 8, right? 4 feet wide by 4 feet tall by a pile stacked 8 feet long, and so I ordered this cord of wood because I'm trying this experiment with my house. I have these fireplaces in my house, but they don't really heat the place. They suck all the heat up. So I ordered these wood stoves that actually not a full blown insert. They're a little smaller, but I have this plan. I'm going to set it inside the stove, inside the fireplace, and only some of it will be sticking out. And I have this great idea, right? So anyway, in the meantime, I order a cord of wood to be delivered, right? So the guy pulls in my driveway, right? And I go, hey, could you dump it right over there in the grass? He says, sure. He's a good old boy from upstate New York, and he dumps this pile of wood. I give him the money. He drives away, and I'm looking at the wood, and I go, holy, you know what? That's a lot of wood right there, And I start putting it in a wheelbarrow, and my other lame brain idea was, to store it at the other, because I didn't want people tell me, oh, you don't want to put wood near the house, you might attract bugs and stuff. I certainly don't want bugs in the house. So I just put it about 50, 75 feet away from the house, and so I start wheeling it from where he dumped it down around my lawn all the way into back. 5 hours it took me to move this and restack it and cover it.
5 hours?
5 hours by myself. I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do with all this? I mean, am I even going to burn it all? I mean, God. But anyway, my hands, my elbow, I have something going on with my elbow, and that didn't help. But man, I wish I had a couple of fighters come over that were in training.
They could have let me know. I could have sent my team of woodchucks, because then we could have found out how much wood could a woodchuck chuck.
I tell you what, I needed a few woodchucks here to chuck a lot of wood, but I'm thinking maybe, I don't know. I ended up with 3 huge piles that stacked, covered, and I'm going, man, maybe you gave me extra. I don't know. But anyway, let's talk boxing. Joseph Parker claimed that he would not only knock out AJ, but he sprinkled in that he would knock out Deontay Wilder too. He had some quotes last week. He said, I don't even think I've ever gotten the respect of being a world champion, but everyone's entitled to their own opinion. I feel as a world champion, I've achieved something incredible in our country. He's referring to the land down under. He says, and I'm very happy with what I have achieved, but I don't think I get any respect. He says, now that I have the WBO belt, I want the WBC, and I want the IBF, and I want a WBA. AJ is a fighter who's a champion of the world. My goal is to unify the titles. My goal is to grab his belts and to say I'm the real world champion. I don't think I'd have any problems knocking either Joshua or Wilder out. What's your thoughts on that comment, Sal?
Well, like I said, Bill, what these guys are using is the media as the vehicle, and they're touting their horn because they want big fights, and they know the only way they're going to get a big payday, big fights, and the notoriety is to use the media. And I give them credit if they want to call each other out, but they got to be able to sit down and negotiate what the reality is of what their cut would be if they're going to fight a Joshua. And I hope they could do that soon, Bill. I think these guys will do what they got to do. They're going to talk. They're going to ramble. They're going to go on. They want the media to cover and to carry their stance and their language. And like I said, the reality will be when they sit down and negotiate who's going to come up short and who's not going to sign that contract.
Well, the teams, the Parker teams and the AJ teams are in, or were in, negotiations, official negotiations, to bring that fight early 2018, which would be a major unification. The winner of that fight would end up with all the titles except for Deontay Wilder's WBC. However, the Joseph Parker camp has officially rejected what they called the most insulting offer in the history of boxing. Apparently, Team AJ made an offer to Joseph Parker and his team, which I'll just say his promoter, David Higgins, I'm talking about Joseph Parker's promoter, said he, meaning Eddie Hearn, made the most ridiculously low offer. It could have been the most insulting offer in boxing history. To expect 40% is reasonable because you've earned it, and it's a unification. Of course, I've mentioned it to Joseph Parker, and he just laughed like I did. He's talking about the offer. He says, I'm not going to reply to this offer because I don't think it was actually Eddie Hearn. I think someone hacked his account. I think it was a scam. I reckon Eddie Hearn respects boxing, and I also reckon Anthony Joshua wouldn't want to insult Joseph Parker. He said that Parker would be happy to wait and fight Deontay after Joshua and Deontay faced off. He says if they want to go to fight Wilder, fine, go ahead. We'll fight Wilder on a 50-50 basis later in that year once he has all 3 belts. We'll come to England to fight AJ, but 40% is the bottom line, and I can give my word that I will not accept 1% less. He's looking to get 40% of a total purse to fight AJ. What's your thoughts on that, Sal? 40%. Now, the only asterisk you got to put there is 40% of what? 40%
of what? I mean, do you want for the gate, all the pay-per-views, all the what is it going to be 40% of? And that's correct. And I would think that 40% would be fair, but I mean, do you know what the offer was that they were so insulted by?
No, I do not.
I would like to, because if it was anything, hey, 30% might be more money than he's ever made in his life.
30% of what? See, this is my 40%. I think the way I'm reading this is, like a revenue split, a revenue share.
Yeah.
X amount versus X amount. But that's kind of, that's like Mayweather Pacquiao-esque. When you have 2 huge names in the sport that are going up to pay-per-view, they're counting every nickel that's generated, and they could say, okay, at the end of the day, we gross X amount of money after all of our expenses, et cetera, we do this kind of a split.
Right.
That would not happen, I don't think, with AJ and Joseph Parker. I have a feeling that the fight would have to take place in England, and Eddie Hearn would say, okay, this is what we're going to offer you to fight. X amount of money, take it or leave it. Everything else is, going to be split with, Team AJ or whatever the other expenses are. So, it's similar to Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder turning down $7 million plus U.S. TV rights from multiple reports, which is a lot of money considering Deontay Wilder never made $2 million. I don't know what Joseph Parker has made. I really don't. But when you look at Joseph Parker and Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder, I mean, let's face it, no disrespect to any of the fighters, but Joseph Parker has to be the weakest link of the 3. And then if you sprinkle in the other 2 big names in the sport, which we'll get to a little bit later, Luis Ortiz and of course Alexander Povetkin. These 2 guys. The question is, could they beat Joseph Parker? Who has Joseph Parker beaten? Who's he even fought? How did he even get to fight for a world title? So I don't know, man. I don't know. I do believe that the offer to fight AJ in England should net a major opponent with a major belt, which equals AJ versus Deontay or AJ versus Joseph Parker. I believe that both of these guys should make somewhere between 5 and 10 million total, Sal. I honestly believe that. And if Deontay Wilder can make 7 plus U.S. television rights, that should get him around 10. And Joseph Parker, I don't even know. At least Deontay's a draw here in the States to a degree.
Yes.
But I don't know. What do you think?
I think you're hitting it on the head. And what kind of confusing me or befuddling me here with this? Why come out to the media and say it was an insult? What do you do when you have an offer presented to you? You counter an offer. You negotiate. You don't just walk up to, oh, that's an assault. I don't care. I'm not going to do this. No. If they offered them 20%, 30%, you say, hey, we'll take 40. And then they come back and say, nah, we're going to do 25 or 30. I mean, you don't get up from the table. You don't make it known unless the deal is off and it's done. And, oh, well, it was insulting because we finished here. No, you counteroffer. You negotiate. You massage it a little bit. And, you know, you come up with a figure that's fair for both. Nobody's going to be truly happy on either side. So you try to see what is the best negotiated deal between the two parties. That's acceptable.
The bottom line is Deontay Wilder against Anthony Joshua is the much more lucrative fight.
Absolutely.
And Anthony Joshua against Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder is deserving of a bigger piece of the pie than Joseph Parker. I'm sorry, but Joseph Parker doesn't bring Deontay Wilder. Nobody's been more critical of Deontay Wilder than myself. But Deontay Wilder has knockout punch. There's no question about that. He's got the pop. He's got the power. He goes in and tries to finish his fights quickly. He's got it on his resume. The only guy not to be stopped by Deontay Wilder was Berman Stavern in their first fight. It was the only time that Deontay has gone the distance. The only time in his whole career out of 39 fights. You know, so that is worth something. Joseph Parker can't say that. Joseph Parker doesn't even have a name like Stavern on his resume. No. And Stavern is nothing. Listen, don't get me wrong.
We know that.
We all know that Stavern is a bum, a gutless bum. You know, and Deontay Wilder has nobody on his resume like AJ, but still, he brings a level of interest that Parker does not. But with all that said, I don't know what the offer was. And 40% of what? You know what they always say, 40% of nothing is nothing, Sal. But hold that thought. We're going to take a short break. When I come back, I got a quote from Deontay Wilder. How about that?
Billy C will be right back.
Broken air conditioning, $4,400. Failing refrigerator, $2,500. Don't let outrageous repair and replacement bills like these bust your budget. Get the First American Home Warranty Plan. And when a covered appliance or system breaks, we'll repair it or replace it for you.
We had a high-end dishwasher go kaput. They put it in a brand new dishwasher.
We have plans that cover air conditioning, most appliances, plus heating, plumbing, electrical systems, and much more. Plans start as low as $25 a month. Why let a major appliance or system breakdown bust your budget or go through the hassle of finding trustworthy service people? Last year alone, we saved our customers over $120 million. Don't wait until something breaks and you're stuck with a huge bill.
You save a lot of money.
It's absolutely worth it.
If you don't have First American Warranty, get it.
Call 1-800-946-6234 for your free no-obligation quote.
This is important news for women using birth control medications and devices. If you or a loved one have been diagnosed with a pseudotumor after using one of these birth control drugs or devices, you may be eligible for a cash award and medical expenses. Contact the law firm of Davis & Crump right now if you or a loved one have used one of these birth control medications or devices and were diagnosed with a pseudotumor to see if you are eligible for a cash award and medical expenses. Call now. Operators are standing by.
If you or a loved one have had hernia repair surgery with mesh reinforcement and suffered infection, chronic pain, mesh migration, mesh failure, organ damage, or needed additional surgery, call the Rely On Group right now. You may be eligible to receive a cash award and compensation for your medical expenses. Your voice deserves to be heard. Call the Rely On Group to be connected with a personal injury attorney for a free consultation. Call 800-715-4869. That's 800-715-4869.
Are you currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red, white, and blue Medicare card? If so, are you suffering from chronic back pain? If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a pain-relieving back brace covered by Medicare at little to no cost, shipped directly to your home for free. These medical-grade back braces are ideal for lower back pain, arthritis, spinal disorders, and other chronic back problems. Will you qualify for a medical-grade back brace?
Call Back Brace America at 1-800-290-8300.
Check out BillyCBoxing.com now, or feel the wrath of the mighty mustache.
Oh, that hurts! Why are you doing that to my face? I hate you.
That's BillyCBoxing.com. Consider this your warning. Now back to Billy C. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're back. You're watching and listening to the Billy C. Show. Programming note, we will not be doing shows on Thanksgiving or Friday. So we got shows today, tomorrow, Wednesday, and be back on Monday. We want to apologize for the technical difficulties we faced last week. Man, what a nightmare it was rebuilding everything that took off. It was not fun, Sal. It really wasn't.
No. I'm so sorry. I know you had to endure a lot, and you make it all happen, Bill. You are the engineer.
Hey, by the way, did you get my email about January?
You know what? I did see that. I didn't open it, though. I will open it. I was watching fights this morning.
Yeah, you should open it because it's important. But anyway.
I'm going to open it. I'm going to open it. Hey, next break I'll open it.
Sure. No, you don't have to open the next break, but we'll talk after the show. But anyway, okay. Deontay Wilder had a quote, too, concerning Anthony Joshua. He was on ESPN Sport Nation on Friday, I believe, either Thursday or Friday. He says, looking to the camera, right at AJ, says, Joshua, let's make this fight happen, man. I'm ready. I don't know about you. Y'all had it easy. It's been breezy for you. You're ready to fight low opposition and get paid millions of dollars, and you don't want that gravy train to end. But I'm the man that's going to end your career.
Oh, wow. Whoa,
listen, here's the thing, Sal. There's no question that Deontay Wilder is the man that we want to see AJ fight. There's no question. And I also believe that Deontay Wilder should be the guy that makes somewhere between $7 and $10 million to fight AJ in England. I agree with that. I agree with Deontay. I don't think they should hold out for any more than that. And I think that team AJ should pay him that. Now, whether they're thinking, hey, listen, why pay him that now? We'll be able to pay him that in the next fight. Let's fight this guy first. But to suggest that AJ has fought easy opposition and insinuating that you, meaning Deontay, has not, what the hell is wrong? I mean, how can Deontay Wilder, with a clear conscience, look at his own resume, despite what people are whispering in his ear, and look at those guys and realize where they stand in the heavyweight division, and actually with a straight face and legitimately believing that he's fought the tougher opposition? Tell me, Sal, how can he do that?
Well, again, you said a key word. I mean, believing. And that's what he truly believes. He believes he's fought the best. He believes he is the best. And, that believability is going to fuel him. It's going to fuel him in his comments. It's going to fuel him to get in the ring with AJ. And I can't say that, hey, like I said, these guys are marketing themselves and are trying to do what they can do to get in the ring. And I applaud them for that, because that's the fight I want to see. Definitely, AJ and Deontay Wilder. That's what I hope to see. But that's what it comes from, Bill. These guys are just trying to use the media, trying to get the attention, trying to, say that, hey, we'll do this, but let's show you what I could do. I want to beat the world. And, how are you going to do that? Well, we're going to let the media help bring the fight to fruition. That's it.
Well, is the consumer that stupid that they buy into that? I mean, let's be real. We're not allowed to fault a guy like Floyd Mayweather for taking the easier fight for the most money, right? We're not allowed to fault him because at the end of the day, he's doing what's best for him. Why are people faulting AJ to do the same? I don't understand.
Well, I don't know if they're faulting AJ to do the same. I think that they've been right in AJ's corner, no pun intended. I mean, to support him on whoever he fights, and he's done very well, and he's had some good opponents. He's had some good opposition. But I'm telling you right now, the only opposition I'd like to see him in a ring with His next fight out will be Deontay Wilder. I think he's the most deserving. I think he's the most competitive, and I think he's the most worthy opponent that AJ could face in his career.
Well,
Klitschko was one, but
there are people faulting AJ and following the Kool-Aid and the BS and the smokescreen that Deontay Wilder spews, that AJ's ducking him. That is so far, and the same goes for Joseph Parker. AJ's not ducking them. They are just not accepting an offer for the fight to be held. Now, remember, this is an offer by Anthony Joshua's promoter to make the fight happen. If Joseph Parker or Deontay Wilder's own promoters would ante up and make an offer to AJ, and it was reasonable and it was around the same numbers that AJ can make on his own, why wouldn't he take it? I don't see anybody else opening up the checkbook, Sal.
No, and that's the whole thing. And like I said, Bill, there's a lot of negotiating to do, and that's why before they say anything they want to say as far as insult remarks from what offers are made, you sit down, you massage it out, you have negotiations, you see what's going to be fair for both people. My old Jersey attorney used to say, Sal, a great decision or a fair deal is when both sides don't really feel like they've won, but they also don't feel like they quite lost either. So,
We got some emails to read. First, we'll get you caught up on some sports scores. In the NFL, the Lions beat the Bears 27-24. The Jaguars over the Browns 19-7. The Ravens shut out the Packers 23-0. The Buccaneers beat the Dolphins in a Battle of Florida 30-20. The Vikings, this game surprised me. Vikings beat the Rams 24-7, showing that the Vikings are for real. But the Rams are too. The Saints and the Redskins in a shootout went to overtime. Saints prevail 34-31. The Giants got their second win of the game. The Giants defense looked really good, but neither team could do much in terms of getting in the end zone. The Giants did score one touchdown, but failed to get the extra point. Ended up going into overtime and beating the Chiefs 12-9. The Texans over the Cardinals 31-21. The Chargers spanked the Bills 54-24. And this was the Bills, who are still alive and well, or were alive and well for the playoffs, decide because Tyrod Taylor had two back-to-back not-so-great games, and they bench him and they put a rookie in, and this is the end result. The stupid Jets, who have no shot at the playoffs, are refusing to put their young quarterbacks in, and they're deciding to sync with the bum we have as a quarterback, despite his numbers. But Bills, what a stupid move there, losing to the Chargers 54-24. The Bengals topped the Broncos 20-17. The Patriots slapped the crap out of the Raiders 33-8. And the Eagles showed me why they're the best team in the NFL, beating up the Cowboys 37-9 in the late game. In the NBA, the Raptors beat the Wizards 100-91. The Pacers beat the Heat 120-95. The Warriors beat my Nets 118-111. The Pistons over the Timberwolves 100-97. The Suns over the Bulls 113-105. The Lakers beat up on the Nuggets 127-109. Over in the NHL, the Hurricanes beat my Islanders 4-2. The Avalanche beat the Red Wings 4-3 in overtime. The Rangers shut out the Senators 3-0. The Vegas Golden Knights beat the Kings 4-2, and the Ducks beat the Panthers 3-2. That's what took place in other sports action last night. I got some emails. First one is from Willie, who's in the chat room right now. He says, hey, Billy C., what a great weekend of boxing we had. Carl Frampton gets a win over Horatio Garcia. Patty Burns stops Alessier Quezada in a great fight for the Irishman. And sadly, Jamie Conlan takes a beating from and loses to Jerwin Anasias. All in all, not a bad Saturday night for the Irish fans in Ireland. Frank Warren is putting on some pretty good shows for us lately when some of the young up-and-coming stars in the making on his books. The future's looking pretty awesome. One particular fight I'm looking forward to in the future, if it happens, is Nathan Gorman versus Daniel Dubois. Daniel Dubois is the guy that we talk about, that heavyweight. He says, I'm not sure, but Triple D quite is ready for that fight yet. Maybe in a couple more fights, but it should be a good one. I think of it like a poor man's Joshua versus Fury. I mean, Gorman is of gypsy descent, and Dubois is black. Am I allowed to say that? Black? Yes, you are. There's nothing wrong with saying that. He says, where do you see Conlan going from here, Billy? And is Frampton any better or any worse after splitting with McGregor? Personally, I don't think Frampton will get another belt. He's 30 years old now. Age matters a bit more in the lighter divisions than it does for the heavyweights. At least that's what I've heard. Is that correct? I think it is. But it all depends. I mean, today we have nutrition and exercise that keeps us going a little longer. As far as Carl Frampton, as far as Gorman against Triple D, hey, we'll see. I hope they don't rush Dubois. He seems to be a good heavyweight on the way up, something for us to look forward to after the AJ and Deontay Wilder careers are on the downswing. He says, let's see, Conlan, where's Conlan go from here? It was a loss, right, Sal? I mean, it was one loss. I mean, yeah, he took a beating, but this is what I always say. This is what happens when you don't progressively increase your level of opposition. What do you think?
Well, you're right. I mean, that's what happens. It's hard to get on-the-job training when you go from 0 to 100, and that's exactly the analogy. Because this guy, he stepped up and he wasn't ready, wasn't prepared to handle what he had in front of him. And that's with the slow progression of how you learn, how you develop as a fighter, needs to be enforced on some of these guys that are true contenders, that do have a shot to be great or do have a shot for a world title.
His last comment, he says, I see that Tyson Fury's calling out David Plumber Boy Price. I don't think that's calling out someone who's likely going to go down in the first round is such a good idea, do you? I mean, I'd have thought that Tyson would have wanted to get some quality rounds under his belt and shake off the ring rust so he could be ready for the big fight with either Joshua or Wilder. Well, maybe you and Sal can give us your thoughts on that one. Thanks for the email, Willie. Listen, David Price has proven to be just an opponent. And Tyson Fury, should he get his act together and get licensed and be able to fight next year, he's got to start off somewhere, Sal. I mean, he can't step in the ring after 2 years outside the ring, being 500 pounds, and jump in the ring with an AJ or a Deontay Wilder. I mean, it doesn't make financial sense for him to just go in for one fight and then go out. I would think David Price is a good opponent for Tyson Fury because David Price is still an English fighter, and he could still make some money, meaning Fury could make some money for a tune-up fight. What's your thoughts?
I think you're 100% correct, Bill. That's what happens. This guy's been out for a while. He's a loose cannon. We don't know what his mental state is. I'm talking about Tyson Fury. And you know what? You don't want to roll the dice on a world title fight that the whole world is going to be looking at and watching. We got to see what is left in this guy's arsenal. We got to see how serious he is. We got to see if he can be tested against a little lesser opponent than a world title or a world champion. So I think it's completely fair. I think it's completely doable, and I think he should stop whining and start winning. That's what he should do.
Who?
Tyson Fury.
Yeah, well, he needs to fight. He needs to
fight. Get off the couch, man. Go out there and challenge anybody. Well, not anybody, but get back in the ring. Don't think you're deserving of a world title fight, your first fight back. Let's see what you can do.
The funny thing is he wants to fight everybody. I just don't think he's ready. Here's the next email. This one's from your buddy, Mike Rella. He says, Hey, Billy C and Sal, just wanted to check in and say hello. Hope you enjoyed the Jacobs fight. I thought Danny won every round and left the ring unscathed. He didn't have a cut or even a bruise. Look for him to be more impressive when he fights this spring on HBO. He says, I hope you saw me on Friday. I was working the corner of Dennis Mama's Boy Doolin when he fought Anthony Durrell. Keep up the good work. Love your show as usual. Yeah, we did see him, Mike. And Daniel Jacobs did dominate. My only negative thing about Danny Jacobs' last fight, Sal, was I thought that he should have made a statement. But, the way Cutman Rella says, he did dominate every round. He won every single round. I just thought that he could have knocked him out, and he probably should have, but he didn't. What do you think?
Well, no, and I called that fight. I thought he did a great job. I thought he was deserving of credit there. He fought the fight. He was very dominant. He was in against no real slouch, and you know what? I thought Danny Jacobs did what he had to do when he had to do it, and he was very dominant, as I said. But he knew he could box, he could punch. He did it all. I'm a Danny Jacobs fan. He did a great job.
Yeah, there's no question.
And like I always said, Bill, we don't know some of the after effects, and this is what's so important. After you come out of a fight with Triple G, there are some fighters that are never the same. So I give Danny Jacobs credit and kudos, because guess what? This guy's right on par. He's right back in the mix, and he had no signs for less of worry. He's ready to go.
Yeah, no, we'll see. We'll see where he does. But another email. This one's actually, this is from someone we've never heard of. He wants the subject is Wilder's Power. It's from my man Jonathan. He says, "Hey Billy C, I really enjoy listening to your show. I think you balance genuine insider knowledge with the enthusiasm of a genuine fan. A shout out to my man Sal. I am slightly confused as to why Wilder's Power is seen as otherworldly. Wilder has struggled to put away fighters that others have beaten more easily. Artur Spitzka was taken out in 4 by Adam Konacki. Wilder took 9 to get to him, and he looked gassed by the time he was stopped. Johan Duhaupas was taken out by Povetkin and viciously knocked out by Povetkin, I might add, in 6 rounds. Wilder couldn't put him on the deck, and the fight was stopped in the 11th. Eric Molina was totally destroyed by Anthony Joshua in 3 and went into survival mode as soon as he felt Joshua's punches. It took Wilder 9 to stop Molina. Joshua and Sproat both knocked out Jason Gavin in 3 rounds while he retired on a stool in foot against Wilder. I don't understand that. Maybe you have a typo. He says, if you put Wilder's opposition in with any decent puncher, they will get knocked out probably faster than he does. Please, Billy C, can you give your and Sal's thoughts on why so many pundits are sold on Wilder's Power? Thank you, John in the UK. Well, John, I appreciate you taking the time to email us. You know, I question it too myself, to be honest with you. You know, there's no question that the level of opposition that Deontay Wilder has faced has been conducive to him to make look good doing the knockout. In his only 2 fights that he employed the jab, which he clearly has a good one when he uses it, was the Berman-Stavern fights. The first fight he fought extremely cautious, whereas in the second fight we all knew that Stavern was there for a payday, and Deontay Wilder went in for the kill quickly. I think that when he finally steps in with a real, dominating heavyweight, which he's yet to do, I think we could really make the judgment then. The truth of the matter is Deontay Wilder is not a big heavyweight, really, mass-wise. Yeah, he's 6'7". He's a monster compared to me, but he weighs 220 pounds. I mean, consider that it's 20 pounds more than the biggest cruiserweight you could find. He's got to build more of a basketball player, in my opinion. That's why I'm not so sure that his pop is as much as people think. I think I agree with Jonathan from the UK. What's your thoughts, Sal?
Bill, I'll tell you, I look at Deontay Wilder as a big image, or a inflated image of a Tommy Hearns, and on some level. Hearns had some great power, but was exposed with his chin and some other things. But Tommy, you can't deny, he swung that right hand. It was like an iron gate closing on someone's finger. And Deontay Wilder does have power. He does have power. And one of my concerns, I'm going to tell you, with this fight against Anthony Joshua, if it takes place, Anthony Joshua came into the ring against Takem, who barely deserved to be there, and survived till when he was finally stopped and later in the fight. But Anthony Joshua came in the ring heavier than he ever was, and I don't know if that helped him or hurt him, but I think it hurt him. And I think he's going to probably be 30 or 40 pounds heavier than Deontay Wilder, who should be able to move and be a little more agile and be able to a little bit more boxing and hitting him from the outside. I think Deontay Wilder does have legitimate power. It's from his delivery, his wide punches, his angles, and his snappiness with his hips and his waist. So he does have power. He's not as heavy-handed, but he does have the power to knock somebody out.
You know, the funny thing, he definitely has the power to knock somebody out because he's knocked 38 of them out.
Well, I'm telling you, he's got power.
Right, but
there's no ifs, ands, and buts. He's got the power to knock somebody out.
But the truth of the matter is he hasn't fought any upper echelon fighter, and quite honestly, I don't think he could withstand a real heavyweight, a giant heavyweight of today, like AJ or a Lennox Lewis or a Klitschko. I just don't. Even Tyson Fury, I don't think so. He's got to get in the ring with one to prove it. You know, I mean, I gave him a lot of credit for what he did to Stavern in his last fight, only because he did what he was supposed to do, made quick work of that fat pig. Anyway, we got a couple more emails here I need to get in. This first one's from my man Mitch. He says, everything that I'm going to say below has to do with the WBC and its shenanigans. He says, Povetkin fought before his supposed suspension was lifted. He fought the guy whose neck they worked on in the ring for 45. That was if you've never seen that, you guys got to go punch that up. That was the freakiest thing. He was getting physical therapy in the ring, and they let the fight continue. That was one of the most bizarre scenes I've ever seen, and he still couldn't finish this guy. He fought with his neck cracked over for the 12 rounds. He says, now all of a sudden Ortiz has been reinstated. The two biggest threats to Deontay Wilder, both were suspended just long enough for him not to have to fight them. Then they are both good to fight right after the fight. So what happened in that short amount of time for the WBC to allow Ortiz to be reinstated? Did the WBC doctors ensure that it's safe for him to fight now? What's going on, Billy C? I have all the answers. In all the instances, Povetkin, Ortiz, and Stavern as the standby was a brown paper bag full of money exchanged hands. And guess what? Adonis Stevenson's fight got pushed back again, and he's still the WBC champion. He should be stripped. This is great. He says, I'll sum up all this BS in a song. 9 ice-cold scotches, 8 one-punch knockouts, 7 southpaw swinging, 6 sexy ring-cut girls, 5 solid gold boxing glove chains, 4 ringside seats, 3 competent judges, 2 boxing gloves, and my very own subscription to Talking Boxing with Billy C. Thank you, Mitch, for reminiscing one of my Christmas tunes that I used to do. That was my favorite, actually. My favorite was "Twas the Night." But anyway, one last email. This one's from my man Angel from Madison, Wisconsin. He says, "Hola, Senor C. I would like to get your thoughts on Larry Holmes and how you and Sal think he would have fared during the Ali Frazier era. With his size, jab, durability, go 12 rounds." And his ability to go 12 rounds, and what is often overlooked is that he was always training before fights and after fights. I often look at what isn't talked about with Holmes and the fact that he was always in shape. He was also great at keeping focus and avoiding distractions outside the ring, and he's a family man who was family-oriented. I became a fan of Holmes right after the fight what he had with Cooney, when Cooney was introduced last instead of the champion. For the introductions, I can only imagine how Holmes felt, and that he was able to put that past him and fought on. Please, if possible, have Alex do a simulation with Holmes and the top heavyweights during the Ali Frazier years. And thank you for the Tom Molyneux book. I bought the book for my pops, and he gave the book 5 out of 5 boxing gloves as a rating. Well, I appreciate that. You know, when you look at Larry Holmes, I was not a huge fan of Larry Holmes. I got to admit, I really wasn't. How he would have fared in the prime of that era. Remember, he was able to come in after. I don't know. Ernie Shavers once told me that Larry Holmes was a legit Hall of Famer. And since then, my outlook has changed. As far as him always being in shape, I never thought so. I always thought he looked a little pudgy around the waist, but that didn't matter. He had a great jab. He had a great heart. He had a good chin. I don't know. What's your thoughts, Sal?
You know, it's so funny. I was not really a huge Larry Holmes fan. You know, I think part of it was because he was always crying that he was in Muhammad Ali's shadow. That's why he wasn't getting the respect after Ali, you know, was no longer fighting or no longer champion. But I do give Larry Holmes kudos, and I legitimately like him. I think he's a good man. When I was with Richie Giacchetti, we used to go out to Phillipsburg. We used to train with Larry Holmes and go to his hotel, the Commodore. And he's a real nice guy. He came to several of my fights, and his younger brother, Mark Holmes, were fighting on the same card as I was, and in Ohio and Pennsylvania. And Larry was always a gentleman. I liked him. I thought he was very, very skillful, and I thought he was a dominant world champion. And, of course, he was. So my respect and my level of appreciation for Larry Holmes has only increased over the years. And I think he deserves his place in the history books of boxing as a heavyweight champion.
Oh yeah, no, he's there. He's a Hall of Famer.
He's legit. He's legit.
As far as being introduced after Cooney, that was a similar situation when the fight was in Cooney's hometown. He was the draw. People wanted to see Cooney. That's why they did that. I mean, and
of course they
keep
did.
in mind, boys and girls, that the champion used to be introduced first. Back all the way up until really all the way up until the 70s, the champion was out first in most of the big fights. If you go back and watch some of these fights on YouTube or whatever, you'll see that the champion is introduced first, which is interesting considering how it's done today. As far as Larry Holmes, clearly an all-time great. It would have been interesting. The most important thing about fighters and their place in history from, a historical perspective and their accomplishments, and why Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier and Kenny Norton, all those guys are held in such high regard is because George Foreman is because they all fought each other. They had willing dance partners. That's what makes fighters great. When they actually fight the fights and that, they're memorable. Larry Holmes did not have the fortunate heavyweight division loaded with talented fighters as Muhammad Ali did. He, unfortunately, was always remembered as the guy who dethroned Ali. And a lot of Ali fans held that against him. And then while he was in the division, leading and, basically controlling the division, the next big name that came around was Mike Tyson, and Mike Tyson destroyed Larry Holmes. So, it was unfortunate, but you can never criticize a fighter who fought everyone that was available to him, and Larry Holmes certainly did. Thanks for the email, Angel. Give your pops my best. I'm going to take a short break. When we come back, Daxx Khan will give us his thoughts on the fights over the weekend. Don't go nowhere.
Billy C will be right back. Part of the Billy C Boxing Network.
If you're over the age of 50 and considering buying an annuity in the next 60 days, I have some important news for you. Don't buy an annuity until you understand the pros and cons of annuities. A free book to help you maximize your retirement income from television host and three-time author Josh Melberg has been released. This book reveals little-known truths about annuity strategies in simple-to-understand terms. Grab a pen right now because we are about to offer you this free book that unlocks the 5 little-known secrets we believe baby boomers and seniors should know before buying an annuity. Call 800-493-9652 now, and you'll receive a free copy of Josh Melberg's book, Next Gen Annuity Strategies Revealed. As a bonus, we'll also send you the #1 mistakes retirees are making with their investments today, and a free DVD on how you can get up to 33% more income in retirement. Call 800-493-9652 to have your free information kit rushed to your door. Again, that's 800-493-9652.
Broken air conditioning, $4,400. Failing refrigerator, $2,500. Don't let outrageous repair and replacement bills like these bust your budget. Get the First American Home Warranty Plan. And when a covered appliance or system breaks, we'll repair it or replace it for you.
We had a high-end dishwasher go kaput. They put it in a brand new dishwasher.
We have plans that cover air conditioning, most appliances, plus heating, plumbing, electrical systems, and much more. Plans start as low as $25 a month. Why let a major appliance or system break down, bust your budget, or go through the hassle of finding trustworthy service people? Last year alone, we saved our customers over $120 million. Don't wait until something breaks and you're stuck with a huge bill.
You save a lot of money.
It's absolutely worth it.
If you don't have First American warranty, get it.
Call 1-800-946-6234 for your free no-obligation quote.
This is important news for women using birth control medications and devices. If you or a loved one have been diagnosed with a pseudotumor after using one of these birth control drugs or devices, you may be eligible for a cash award and medical expenses. Contact the law firm of Davis & Crump right now if you or a loved one have used one of these birth control medications or devices and were diagnosed with a pseudotumor to see if you are eligible for a cash award and medical expenses. Call now. Operators are standing by.
Snacking has never been this exciting. At Graze.com, we combine wholesome ingredients with the flavors we all love to create over 100 exciting snacks, like these. We'd love to send you a Graze sampler box for free. Just go to Graze.com, enter the code ENJOY36, and we'll mail your free box to your home or office. Join thousands of Grazers already in love with our exciting snacks. So come to Graze.com for your first box free.
Check out BillyCBoxing.com now, or feel the wrath of the mighty mustache.
Oh, that hurts! Why are you doing that to my face? I hate you.
That's BillyCBoxing.com. Consider this your warning. Now back to Billy C. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're back. You're watching and listening to the Billy C. Show. Don't forget, it's the holidays already. That's right. This week is Thanksgiving. We will not be doing a live show on Thanksgiving or the Friday after, but we will be back all next week. And speaking of the holidays, don't forget, get a copy of my book. What makes a better gift than that? Nothing. And if you're looking to get a whole bunch of books, mine specifically, email me, Billy@TalkinBoxing, TalkinBoxing.com. Joining me right now with Sal is my man Daxx Khan. Good morning, Dax.
Good morning, Mr. Calogero.
How you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right.
Never realized, we're all doing good.
Never realized how much wood is in a cord. Damn, there's a lot of wood. I was telling Sal when the guy dumped it out of the truck and he drove away, I'm looking at this humongous pile and I go, damn, that's a lot of wood. But anyway, let's talk about the fights from this weekend. Carl Frampton. Many people think he struggled, even though he dominated on the scorecards in his fight against Garcia. What was your thoughts of the fight, and where do you think Frampton goes from here?
It was supposed to be a showcase fight. Let the public know after the Santa Cruz loss that he didn't lose anything, and just to reintroduce himself, so to speak. Did he struggle a little bit? It seemed like it. It certainly did. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. Maybe it was a little bit of a psychological issue. That happens when they place a whole card around your comeback. And maybe he just felt he needed to prove himself. A lot of times we see when guys go extra hard for that knockout, it's when it doesn't come. As far as his opponent, Horatio Garcia, he's been in with some good names. Jojo Diaz, he's been in, So, it was a tough opponent to look good against. So if that was their whole intent, was just to make Carl Frampton look spectacular, they picked the wrong guy. But, as far as Carl Frampton, where's he going next? I think, another fight maybe of this caliber, and then he's right back into the mix.
Yeah, I don't see why he wouldn't be back in the mix. I mean, what do you think, Sal?
No, I think he'd definitely get back in the mix. I think he's a good fighter. I think he's a solid fighter, but I think he's lost a step or two on some of his efforts. But I think that he's still deserving of being up in that mix, and he'll earn his way back. He just needs, as Daxx suggested, all he does need is one other good fight like that, and he'll be talked about, and he'll be right back in the mix.
Are we going to see another Leo Santa Cruz fight with him, Daxx?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah,
I don't think so. I don't think it. I don't think it's a big money fight for either one of them right now. Considering there's other business over in the UK, a lot of guys called out Carl Frampton after that, and Leo Santa Cruz has his own business here, maybe a year or two down the road, but no time soon.
I think that Carl Frampton would have to do some spectacular things in order to warrant the another Leo Santa Cruz fight, and this wasn't really a spectacular performance.
No, it wasn't. I actually think that we might see the Scott Quigg rematch.
Yeah, that's a good domestic fight. Also on that card, a guy that really flies under the radar in Jerwin Anastasiades. I think Anna. How do you pronounce that last name? Macajas. Yeah, I was close.
There you go.
I was close. I got the first name right. Anastasiades. He's flying under the radar. And he manhandled Jamie Conlan. People forget that this was the guy that beat McJoe Arroyo back in September of last year to get the title. And he's continued on a win streak. What was your thoughts on this fight?
Well, this fight showed exactly how much Conlan has been coddled. No pun intended. But, Conlan, just until recently, he's been facing guys with 8-2 and 22-10 records. He wasn't ready for a fight against a guy like Jerwin. Yeah, Conlan has some minor European titles. He's a good fighter, but he's never fought outside of Ireland or the UK. The opponents of Conlan prior to Saturday have allowed him to look good, and we see that a lot. And when that happens, and because the fighter's looking good and the promoter is making money and they're building them up, they don't raise that level of competition. Jerwin is a pressure fighter. He's a busy fighter. He's also no stranger to being the guy on the road and being the B-side, even as a champion. Jerwin has been in with the higher level of competition, as you stated, like McJoe Arroyo. He's been in camp with Manny Pacquiao. He was actually on the undercard of the Manny Pacquiao and Jeff Horn card in July. He's fought in Macau. He's fought in China. He's fought in Australia. Conlan just didn't have the power to hurt Jerwin. He wasn't ready for it, and it was a leap in class, maybe even 3 leaps in class for Conlan. He's a good fighter, but his promoter hasn't done him no favors in terms of advancement. Where he goes from here, I'm not really sure. It's almost like they're going to have to rebuild him. How much of his confidence was taken away? Remember, Jerwin's only lost was in 2012. It was a majority decision. He's won 15 straight since. He fits in well with the guys like Rungvisai, Juan Francisco Estrada, Kudras, Anui. That division is hot. It's red hot, and there's been a couple other fights this weekend that even raised the level of that.
The thing with what you said about Conlan is so true, and this is what I always say, Dax, that these guys, when they don't increase the level of opposition, this is what they get, right? Oh,
that's what happened.
See, I wanted to see Daxx comment while he was drinking the water. Then I would have been impressed.
This is what happened. You know what I'm saying? That's how it happened.
At least he wasn't drinking Kool-Aid.
No, at least he doesn't have a little mannequin there, and he starts going, "Here, for my next ring, I will drink this water and respond." But I mean, this is why, right? Funny. I mean, if they increase the level of opposition, the guy is ready for a fight like this.
Yes, but he would have needed 2 or 3 other fights to get him ready for something like this. One of the biggest things which in this sport we talk about world champions. The whole idea of being a world champion or a top 10 contender, you have to fight around the world. That domestic stuff, staying in that domestic area, whether or not it's just your own country or your own continent, however you want to say, that's only good for your first 10 or 11 fights. To be ready for this next stage, you have to be, especially, at a guy like this, you have to have at least opponents who have, been on that stage before. That's something Conlan clearly hasn't in the past.
Another fight from Saturday that, it's a why you're still doing a type of a fight, but Tomas Adamek struggled with Fred Cassie, who's not very big. I don't know why they keep calling him big. He's not very big. And in my opinion, he struggled. I mean, one judge did score at 97-93, but the other two had it extremely close. This fight could have went Cassie's way if it was any other place other than Poland. What was your thoughts?
Well, remember, Adamek was knocked out by Eric Molina not too long ago. What was it, a fight or two ago? So, he's definitely past his best. He's just fighting to fight. He's going to be a big draw in Poland, so that's what it is. A lot of guys just have a hard time saying, when it's time to hang them up, and that's the case with Thomas Adamek, in my opinion. I'll tell you what, Zolani Teat on the undercard of the Frampton fight. Now what a sensational knockout that was this weekend, huh?
Yeah, broke the quickest world title fight ending in history, 11 seconds. A great point there.
There's another guy goes under the radar. He hasn't lost a fight in 5 years. That was a split decision to Roberto Sosa, and that was at super flyweight. He lost a majority decision to Juan Alberto Rosa. That was 2012. That was at another one. So, he's had one stoppage loss, and that was to Mathanli. That was in 2010. This is a guy here who has power and he can box. I would love to see him in there with like a Louis Neary or over in the UK, unified with the IBF WBA champion Ryan Burnett or something like that. That would definitely be something, to raise both these guys' profiles, and it will help clean up these divisions.
The problem with him is he's a South African fighter, and it's hard to get him to have the fights there, and I don't think there's a willingness of dance partners because of what you say. I mean, he's the real deal. He's like remember Budlar, Hiki Budlar, who finally lost. I mean, lost his belt. I mean, there's another dangerous fighter, smaller, but risk versus reward. Not a big enough name to get the big check, and too much of a risk to just fight. And I think that's what Zolani's problem is.
Definitely, definitely, and we see that a lot in the sport. What about did you watch Thursday's Golden Boy Promotions card or Wednesday's Golden Boy Promotions card?
Well, let's get to that in a second. I want to go to the showcase card from Saturday with J-Rock and Lionel Thompson and Nabayer. But first and foremost, Julian J-Rock Williams, his victory over arguably the most boring fighter that ever laced on a pair of gloves, aside from Floyd Mayweather and Andre Ward, Ishii Smith. What do you take out of the win from J-Rock Williams, winning a one-sided 10-round decision over Ishii Smith? Does that help Williams, and is that the end of Ishii Smith?
I scored the fight for Smith.
Did you really?
I did.
Counterpunching?
No, just on the fact, you know what? Julian Williams was totally thrown off by the fact that, I think we all were, that Ishii Smith came out as the aggressor, number one. When have you ever really seen Ishii Smith as the aggressor? And I agree, Ishii Smith is a very boring fighter, and it has cost him in the past, but he's a very good fighter. He's just, all defensive-minded. But, when he was letting his hands go, Julian Williams actually froze up. There was a few times he actually hurt Julian Williams. But, Williams, he did land the cleaner, the harder punches, maybe, the ones that looked like they were doing a lot more. Ishii Smith was landing more into combinations. Nothing were like real eye-catching. So, I think he was actually outlanding Julian Williams. And he was educating Williams. I think Williams, he had no answers for it. He came out there and he was, in his mind, he just thought he was going to knock Ishii Smith out. He even said that before the fight, and that was his goal. I gave Julian Williams rounds 2, 3, 4, and 8. I gave Smith 1, 5, 6, 7, 9, and 10. That's how I had it. I had the score. I had it scored. On my card, I had a 96-94 for Smith. How they had 99, 91, 98, 92, and 97, 93 for Julian Williams was just absurd. Even if you gave Williams the fight on 96-94, I wouldn't have had a problem with that. But those disparity in scores, they were preposterous. They were embarrassing.
Well, it was a PBC card, don't forget. And Lionel Thompson, his win over Earl Newman, does that put him in any kind of a mix in the light heavyweight division?
Stop! Really? He looked like garbage.
Did he ever look real good?
I'll tell you what. he's looked better, at least walking to the ring. I mean, he looked horrible. Again, those scores were absurd. 97-91 twice and 96-92. I had it 95-93 in favor of Thompson. The right guy won. But, I gave Newman the first round. I thought he outworked Thompson. Neither one of them really did much that round, but at least Newman did try to initiate the fight. Thompson won the second through the sixth easy, and he won. He had those 2 10-8 rounds. He ran those last couple rounds. I mean, he literally ran. He didn't box and stick and move and just say, why take chances? He literally ran. Earl Newman, he lacked experience. He didn't know how to hold when he was hurt. He just didn't know how to cut off the ring, and that's really what pretty much, in my opinion, won Lonnie Thompson the fight. If Earl Newman was able to cut off that ring and he actually pumped out that jab a little more, I think he would have won that fight. If anything, this fight lowered the stock of Lonnie Thompson. Without the knockouts, it probably would have been a draw.
And also on that card, Tug Nyambayer improved to 9-0 against Hermanto Della Torre. What was your thoughts on that one?
Oh, what a fight that was, right? Tuksak, Nyambar, King Tug, that was, again, criminal scores. 79-73, 78-73 twice in favor of King Tug, who I'm a big fan of. I had it 76-75 in favor of Tug. But, of course, Adelaide Bird was in the mix, So
boy.
But I had Tug winning rounds 1, 3, 6, 7, and 8. Della Torre rounds 2, 4, and 5. With that one round being a 2-point round when he knocked Tug down in the second. I think Della Torre surprised him with his speed and the punching power. I don't think Tug really thought that Della Torre had that much power. It took a little time for Tug to adjust. Once he did, though, those guys really went at it. Della Torre slowed down a bit because of those body punches. At the end of that last round when he was really hurt, instead of going into survival and just saying, I'm just going to wait this out, what did he do? He sat there and he traded. I know he's worked with Manny Pacquiao in some camps, and you could see a little bit of that Manny Pacquiao head movement and style in him as he's getting ready to punch. It was a great fight, and it was actually the best fight on the card, in my opinion. And both those guys are two guys you need to keep an eye out on, because another 3 or 4 fights, they're going to be, definitely somebody that is dangerous in those divisions, should be taken seriously.
And Friday night, once again, you have problems in the ring with the Durrell brother. This time, Anthony Durrell. He beats Doolin in a fight that had to go to the scorecards because of an unintentional headbutt. I got to be honest with you, Dax. I'm not so sure that the point deducted was justified, and those scores were extremely close. I'm wondering if they made it like that fight had to go to the scorecards or not. 49-46, 48-47 twice. Did Durrell, in your opinion, beat Doolin in those 6 rounds? Could it have gone on? Would the result been different?
One thing you got to say about the Durrell brothers, they're reliable. You can rely on them to lose heart. You can rely on them for some sort of incident caused by either themselves or by the circle. Of course, unless things are going their way. You talk about the cut. We spoke about Ishe Smith and Julian Williams. Look at the cuts on Ishe Smith. You should see what that cut looked like the next day. It must have been a good inch wide and about an inch and a half long. Ishe Smith had 3 cuts. There were by butts, accidental, but you know what? He never at one point in time said, I don't want to fight on no more. Durrell, what's he do? I can't see. But as soon as that referee stopped that, all of a sudden that bleeding went away. Maybe it was a miracle. I don't know what happened. Who knows what kind of power these Durrells have. All they can say is that I just, this is how the Durrell fights are going to go. They always have gone. If their opponent walks in, they get tapped, they go down, go boom. The Durrell brother loves it. Anything after that, they want no part of it. I always thought that Anthony actually was a different cut than his brother Andre, but they're both quitters. They'll both do anything they can to win. Neither one of them have any heart. It takes heart to step inside that ring, but again, if it's not going their way, then they're going to figure out a way to get out of that, and that's exactly what they do. Matter of fact, they've actually mastered it.
And finally, Dax, what was your thoughts on the Thursday night, the Golden Boy card? You had some comments you wanted to make on that?
Oh, I thought that was a great card. I thought that was really good matchmaking. The prospects now, in the case of Jose Martinez, contender, they really stepped up their level of competition. They set the tone for 2018. They all kind of put out a keep your eyes open because you're going to be seeing more of me soon. Alexis Roja, his first round knockout over Salgudo, and Virgil Ortiz over Cavallaro. So I thought that was very exciting. And Jose Jose Martinez, again, here's another guy who's entering that super flyweight division now with that WBO, NABO title. So, that, again, just raises that division standard. So, I think that was the perfectly matched card for guys of that level. We're speaking about Jamie Conlan on how his level of competition didn't prepare him for a urine win. These were the type of fights and that type of card that prepares these young fighters for that level and that next step.
Dax, before we let you go, I'm going to bring you, get your thoughts, and Sal and I haven't talked about this yet, so I'll get both of your thoughts at the same time. Apparently, last week, Oscar De La Hoya was doing an interview, and he was quoted as officially calling out Conor McGregor in a fight, claiming that he would not only beat McGregor, he would knock him out in 2 rounds. What's your thoughts on A, Oscar even calling out McGregor, and B, would the fight be of interest to anyone? I'll start with you, Sal.
Me? I'll tell you what. As much as I really do not care to ever see Conor McGregor fight again, and I'm sorry, I'm just not an MMA fan, and I'm not a big Conor McGregor fan. I think he's a little too crude, but I think that it would get me curious to look at it, and I'd like to see De La Hoya beat the heck out of him. I'd like to see De La Hoya knock him out. I think De La Hoya was a great fighter, and I think if he wants to get back in the ring, make some money like Mayweather, or make a little bit less, I don't know. I don't really care to see him come back and fight anybody else. I don't know, but I'd be interested. I would be interested. It could be an interesting fight, and I think he could sell. But I think he could beat him too. Hey, I think any boxer. I don't care if he's been out. I think Conor McGregor is very limited in his ring skill ability, so I think he could beat him.
Hey, Dax, Golden Boy's 44 years old. For some reason, he's having a hard time letting go of his inside the ring, especially when it seems like he's got enough juice. I'm looking at this as I don't even care about this, but my question to you is, first and foremost, what's your thoughts of it, about him calling him out? Was it for real? Could he beat him in 2 rounds? And then I want to sprinkle in the other aspect, where many people believe that Floyd Mayweather carried McGregor in those early rounds with the hopes that they could somehow con the public into a rematch. What's your thoughts on all those issues?
Well, first, we'll go with the Floyd Mayweather issue. No, I don't believe that he was trying to con the public into a rematch, but I do believe he carried McGregor those rounds because, for the reason that, listen, these guys got to get something for their money. He already knew the criticism that was going into that fight. So, to carry him, make him look a little bit good. And Floyd Mayweather is not the first guy to ever do that. So let's not pretend we've seen that with champions dating back, for 100 years. But as far as Oscar De La Hoya, what a hypocrite. All the criticism and the talk and the bashing he's done against Floyd and Conor McGregor and Dana White leading up to that. And this is what he comes out and does. But, Oscar De La Hoya, despite when he was a fighter, like Sal said, I was a big fan. Oscar De La Hoya, love him or hate him, one thing you have to say, whether he won or he lost, he always made sure that he fought the best guys, and he was always the A side, and he always made, he could have took the easier fights, but he wanted the very best competition available. But, you definitely see the promoter side of him when it comes to Canelo or where it comes to something like this, because, the money is, that comes first and foremost. It's embarrassing that he would even suggest this, and especially if he follows through with this, I'd be greatly disappointed in him.
Yeah,
As for Conor McGregor, let me tell you what, that would end his career. He loses to Oscar De La Hoya. Forget the fact that De La Hoya's been off for a couple of years. But you know what? You're a guy who prides himself in your trash talk. You pride yourself in your warrior style in MMA, and then you're losing to a guy 44 years old who is a drug addict and he wears female underwear.
Yeah,
I didn't want to go there.
But the beauty of the fight would be the fact that Conor McGregor's never claimed to be a boxer. So I mean, that's, even if he lost, he could always fall back on that, don't you think?
Yes, he can. I mean, I'm just being a wise guy, but yeah, he's it's really just for the money, these guys want to impress me, even whether it comes to Oscar Floyd or anybody else, especially Paulie Malignaggi, who has seemed to make a second career out of just talking about Conor McGregor nonstop on Twitter. If you ever have a day off, you're sick or something, just put on a Twitter feed and just watch how many posts from Paulie Malignaggi come out, and it's pretty much the same thing over and over and over again all day. Where's the video? Somebody show the video of me and him sparring, and then you'll see what really happened. You know what, guys? Why don't you go into an MMA ring? Hey, you know what? If you beat him inside an MMA cage, more power to you. But why don't you at least go in there instead of wanting him to come into your comfort zone? Heather Hardy and Holly Holm, they made that transition. Other guys like Ray Mercer, when he was retired, he made that transition. They stepped over there. So what about these guys? Or do you just not have the heart that these other people do? Oscar De La Hoya wears female underwear, but maybe doesn't have the heart of some of these lady champions.
Great point, Daxx. We appreciate your thoughts, and we'll look forward to you next time. All right.
All right, and before you wanted to know about the paycheck for Charles Martin. He got $6 or $8.5 million for his fight against Anthony Joshua, and that's all that supposedly Team Joshua had offered Joseph Parker. And as far as the resumes go, next time we come on, I have to argue which is there. Anthony Joshua, other than Vladimir Klitschko and Dillian White, his resume is no better than Deontay Wilder's. And when you look deeper into Joseph Parker's resume, he might actually have the best resume of the three because they have a lot of common opponents, and he fought a lot of these guys beforehand.
Alrighty then. Have a great...
If anything, Andy Ruiz Jr. is better than almost everybody on either one of their resumes.
Have a great Thanksgiving, Daxx. We'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Take care, Daxx.
Given saying that, well, I'm not even going to go there. I'm going to say one more thing before we take a quick break, Sal. And the WBA has ordered not one, not two, but three big fights that need to be made. First and foremost, in the super lightweight division or junior welterweight division, however you want to look at. Rancis Barthélemy, 26-0. And Kyril Relik are a title fight that has to be made. Both of these guys have 30 days to negotiate, starting already a couple of weeks ago. So they have until the end of, I guess about the beginning of December 6th. So we'll see what happens in that division. Sal, we're going to take a short break right now. And when we come back, we got an interesting question that we will be asking all of you. So don't go anywhere.
Billy C will be right back. Part of the Billy C Boxing Network.
Currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red, white, and blue Medicare card? If so, are you suffering from chronic back pain? If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a pain-relieving back brace covered by Medicare at little to no cost, shipped directly to your home for free. These medical-grade back braces are ideal for lower back pain, arthritis, spinal disorders, and other chronic back problems. Will you qualify for a medical-grade back brace?
Call Back Brace America at 1-800-290-8300.
Check out BillyCBoxing.com now, or feel the wrath of the mighty mustache.
Oh, that hurts! Why are you doing that to my face? I hate you! I hate you!
That's BillyCBoxing.com. Consider this your warning. Now back to Billy C. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're back. You're watching and listening to the Billy C Show. That was a quick break. I don't know what happened with all the spots, but it came back. Good thing I didn't have to run away. Good thing you were still here too, Sal. It's a good thing you
am. I definitely no refill of coffee.
Yeah, no refill of coffee for you there. I don't know what happened. I think I might have hit the wrong button. It's been a little while. We take a couple of days off, and it's like, what the hell happened? But anyway, we got a trivia question. That's a tough question. And I was a little surprised because of all of the search capabilities. And that guy, what's his name? Google, I think he's related to Doppler. Who is this Doppler character anyway? But anyway, the question is, and if you're the first one to email me the correct answer, Billy at Talkin' Boxing. That's TalkinBoxing.com. You'll win your very own copy of the Title Bout Championship computer game. Now, this is the same copy of the game that Alex Papali uses for our Blast from the Past, which, incidentally, this Wednesday features Tony the Tiger Lopez. So make sure you tune into that. Here's the question. I am in the International Boxing Hall of Fame, and I once lost 4 consecutive fights against 2 brothers. So in English, that means 4 fights in a row against 2 guys, right? I am in the International Boxing Hall of Fame, and I once lost 4 consecutive fights against 2 brothers. Who am I? If you're the first one to email me the correct answer, Billy at Talkin' Boxing, that's TalkinBoxing.com, you'll win the prize. And Sal, this is a good one, and I know you've already answered your question. But somebody, I'm trying to remember, I was talking to somebody the other day, and I asked a question. I said, hey, what's your thoughts on this? And I think it was Jeremy. And Jeremy comes back, he goes, Jack Dempsey? I go, hey, wait a minute. What are you doing? What are you doing, man? You know? But it was pretty funny. Anyway, I am in the International Boxing Hall of Fame, and I once lost 4 consecutive fights against 2 brothers. Who am I? If you're the first one to email me, Billy at Talkin' Boxing. That's TalkinBoxing.com. You'll win the prize. So good luck on that one. And finally, on this day, November 20th, in boxing history, in 1942, Willie Pep wins a 15-round decision over Chalky Wright to win the world featherweight title, and that took place at Madison Square Garden in New York City. On this day in 1931, Tony Canzonori wins a 15-round split decision over Kid Chocolat to retain his world lightweight and junior welterweight titles, and that too took place at Madison Square Garden in New York City. On this day in 1936, Jimmy McLarnin wins a 10-round decision over Lou Ambers in his final fight of his career, which took place at Madison Square Garden in New York City. He finished his career with a 55 with 21 wins coming by knockout, 11 losses, and 3 draws. Jimmy McLarnin is a Hall of Famer. On this day in 1993, Orlando Canizales wins a 12-round decision over Juvenal Barrio to retain his IBF World Bantamweight title, and took place in South Africa. And finally, on this day, November 20th in 1991, Gerald McLennan knocks out John the Beast Mugabe in the very first round to win the vacant WBA World Middleweight title, and that took place at the Royal Albert Hall in London on this day, November 20th, in 1991. Yes, Sal.
Yes, I just have to add one more day in history. On this day, I want to wish a happy birthday to Kayla. It's her birthday today.
Oh, happy birthday to Kayla. Tell her I said happy birthday, man.
I will. She's listening to the show, so I just thought we'd say happy birthday to Kayla.
Oh, good. You didn't want to get in trouble. In other words, you didn't want to get in trouble. Hey, Kayla. I miss you, Kayla. When am I going to see you again? Happy birthday. Anyway,
by the way,
hey, don't forget to tune in tomorrow morning. Same bat time, same bat channel. Until then, I'll leave you with this. Ciao, baby.